In this second tip, I want to talk about another important problem that we have with our learning. In the first one, I talked about the overall process by which we learn. Today, I want to talk about a key problem that we have with our brains, how we use our brains. Let's stop the video for a few seconds. What do you think is the key problem with our brains? I would request you to stop. So here is what I think is the key problem: focus. So we live today in a world where we are constantly interrupted by different things: our mobile phones, our social media, people, next to us talking to each other, people interrupting anytime. So this is external factors, and internally we are kind of a generation used to multitasking. We are one moment here, one moment there. The result of all of this constant series of activities is that our minds can't be still. I mean, I read a lot of books on the spiritual front to understand how do we really calm our minds to reach this thing they call the Zen, the state of mind, where our mind is in a very calm state to absorb and to respond to things rather than just reacting. Yeah. So the key problems today, as I see, is this whole interruptions that's happening, and the multitasking that we are so used to, that our minds struggle to really focus on one thing. So I was quite surprised. Sometimes I actually put my videos in front of my students. These are people who are running their businesses and stuff, and then I watch on the sidelines to sit and see how they watch. Even a 5 minute session, they constantly, taking their phone, checking something, so their focus is not there. And then today we seem to somehow justify this: we have a low attention span, and then hence everybody should cut the videos to, or the sessions to a few minutes and stuff. Yes, I mean, teachers and the people like me, they should make their effort to appeal to shorter attention span. But the reality of the problem is we need to take responsibility for our own learning. And I'll share with you two techniques that I found to be very helpful. So two of these techniques, the aim is to increase focus. The first one is something that we all know, and it is used in our professional world quite a bit, but we rarely apply it to our learning, especially for a small learning: goals. So, I mean, we often, in our workplace, we have yearly goals, and structured companies have even, smaller goals on a monthly level and stuff. We have targets to meet when you are in sales, and others, you have monthly targets. All of them are goals. What's the purpose of these goals? The goals, the key intention is by helping us clarify the target. First, we have much more increased motivation. Second, we are able to prioritize and then do the things that will help us to get there in the goal. But the most important thing is our whole body, the brain, the organ that we don't really understand, is actually putting a lot more energy into helping us to achieve that goal by coming up with strategies, helping us to stay focused. Here, learning is a brain game, really. So the key thing is to set goals. And if you don't know already, I would suggest take a look at this thing called SMART goals. Many of you might have already encountered this. Here are a few examples that I just got by clicking around on the Google search results. There are some, for example, if you have a broad goal: I want to grow my business. How do I make it specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based? Here is another PDF, very nice one, which talks about, for example, if you want to lose weight. Most of us have this goal, right? So how do you convert this into what I call a process goal that you can track on a daily, weekly basis? And it walks through this example. By doing this, I think you would be able to understand how do you convert a goal like I want to become a data analyst, I want to master a tool like Tableau or Power BI, or I want to become a really good person in analytics. So we can break it down. It comes down to, on a day-to-day basis, can we spend consistently some amount of time, whether it's 30 minutes, 1 hour, learning things and then applying and practicing them. Yeah. So that's the first thing: goals. The second technique that I found to be very useful is called a 30-minute sprint, right? Really. So the moment we hear the word sprint, what comes to our mind? Intense focus. We know we will take a break. So we will try our best to really focus and concentrate. That's what really we want to do. I mean, you can read about this also. So there's a lot of research done on this. Like if you work for 30 minutes, take like a small break. It actually helps you to absorb or even do your work much better. Actually, I have personally tried this on a number of occasions, and I found this to be very helpful. And don't think that I am a person who is able to do both of these things all the time. Even many of the times I don't do many of these things. But on the days that I break down my work day, even into 30-minute sprints, and each one of them I set a clear goal, those are the best days. I go home in the evening really feeling calm and relaxed and having achieved many things. Sometimes I achieve many things, but I'm stressed out. The body is not in a great state, mind is not in a very positive frame of mind. So let me give you a more detailed breakdown for what this 30-minute sprint like. First, write down your goals. For example, if you're going to watch a video like this video, right? So write down your goals. What do you want to get out of this video, right? So let it be in the form of questions, especially for things like this, so that you can measure. The key thing, two of the key, if you look at the SMART goals itself, there is 5 things. I would say focus on measurable. If you can make something measurable, it's already specific, and make it time bound. Right? So in case, for example, you're watching a video, the video has, for example, if it's a 10 minutes video, it's automatically 10 minutes, right? But if you're having a 1 hour video or anything more than 30 minutes, first chunk it out to 30 minutes. Let's stop at 30 minutes and do things. But if you're doing things like browsing, for example, SMART goals, I want to read about this. You can do endless amount of reading. You can read for an hour, 2 hours, and then you can literally do a PhD in SMART goals. But does that help you to basically move you forward towards your own goal for which you wanted to read about SMART goal? One of the things that I often feel bad about is spending a lot of time in what I call mindless browsing. This browser to me is enemy number 1. I don't use social media, I don't use WhatsApp, I don't have many of the distractions that most people suffer with, even television and stuff, news. But one of the things, on the things that I do want to read, on the days that I properly don't set a time limit and then what exactly I'm looking for, I realize sometimes I spend in my prime time even 1 hour, 2 hour tracking down, reading information, which is nice to know, but not really the very important pieces of information. Yeah. So it's important to set a time. Yeah. So first thing, for most people, all of us, I mean most of us have distractions, email dings, and then social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, this and that. Put your phone on mute if possible, so do all of these things in your, so that you are not distracted in these 30 minutes. And then here is the most important thing. Close your eyes. I mean, I'm not teaching you spirituality, or I'm not walking you through a yoga class, but I've been through a number of classes where some of the trainers took some of these approaches. Close your eyes, stand up, stretch, and it actually helped. I mean, I'm learning from some of the best teachers that I've come across. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, because connecting with our breath is a very easy way to calm down. Take a deep breath, just focus on your breath. Then state your intention, in this case the goal. If you are a religious type, you can make this as an appeal to God, what we call the supplication. So there is, about our brain, there's a lot of research, but the reality is we don't actually use most part of our brain. For example, there are famous quotes from some of the most intelligent people that we barely use even 2% of our brain. The lot of others we don't know, we don't use, and we don't even know how to use. One of the easiest ways I have found to tap into this hidden power, what we call the subconscious mind, is to actually really state your intention in a positive way, or to use religious term to appeal to God, to make a supplication, asking for focus, asking for the ability to absorb this material, and in a way that you can apply and benefit yourself and benefit other people. This personally I found this to be very useful. And then set a timer for 30 minutes. So I have found, I mean, I something like a kitchen timer. The one I have looks like this. Yeah, I set a 30 minute and then it keeps ticking. I find this to be a nice way to remind me that the timer is running. You can use your mobile phone, whatever that is helpful for you, but do set a timer. When the timer goes off, stop immediately. Don't take another 20 seconds or another 1 minute. This is something you can try and see. When you do another 1 minute, you actually take a lot more time and you don't stop immediately and do something physical. For example, get up and walk, go visit the bathroom, take some water and drink, or just stretch your body. Do something physical. Let it be a few minutes, if possible even 5 minutes. And then when you come back from the break, you remember the first tip that we covered, the 5W framework: what, when, how, why, and all of this. You use that framework to write down the key ideas, the summarize whatever you have read or listened to in these 30 minutes. Why this is very important to do it after the break is this concept called our brain can be in two modes. One mode is what I call the big picture mode. It is like this. For example, if I take you on a helicopter in your area, the area that you live every day, and then you fly down a helicopter, you would see new connections. You would see, there are water pools here, there are groups of houses here, there's free area here and stuff that you wouldn't actually have even recognized, though you travel the same route every day actually. So when we are actually in details, our mind is not in big picture mode. So one of the nice things that our brain has is this ability to switch between them. In a typical day, at the start, our brain can be in a big picture mode. That's why when we go into these reflective sessions and deep sessions, we are able to get a lot more ideas. We feel a lot more confident about ourselves. But then when we come into the day-to-day grind of work and get into the details, we lose confidence, we lose sight of the big picture. So if you have a way to constantly switch back to big picture many times in the day, this can be a great asset. Try it out. I think it would be helpful for you. So with that, let me summarize. There are the key problem with our brains and the way that we use our brains today is not focusing. To help us to focus, I said do two things. One is to make your goals clear, and then use a 30-minute sprint to learn. I hope you are able to use this to benefit yourself.